Good morning, students. In our previous module, we discussed the different types of force. Today in this module, we will discuss the pressure. Dear students, pressure is produced when a force acts on an object. In most cases, an object exerts force on another object by making contact with it or by touching it. The effect of force applied by one object on another object depends on area of contact between the two objects. This point will become clear from this example. For example, if we push hard on a piece of wood with our thumb, the thumb does not go into the wood. But if we push a drawing pin into the wood with the same force of our thumb, the drawing pin goes into the wood very easily. Our thumb does not go into the wood because the force of thumb is falling on a large area of the wood, due to which the force per unit area on the wood is small. The drawing pin goes into the wood because due to the sharp tip of the drawing pin, the force of thumb is falling on a very small area of the wood, due to which the force per unit area on the wood becomes very large. Now it is clear from this example that pressure is the force acting on a unit area of the object. The force of thumb produces small pressure when it acts on a large area of wood. But the same force of thumb produces much greater pressure when it acts on a very small area of wood through the tip of drawing pin. So, pressure is the force acting on a unit area of the object. And the formula for calculating pressure is equal to force upon area. This formula gives the relation between pressure, force and area. The SI unit of measuring force is Newton and the SI unit of measuring area is square meter. Therefore, the SI unit of measuring pressure is Newtons per square meter, which is also called Pascal. The pressure depends on two factors. Number one, force applied. Number two, area over which force acts. The same force can produce different pressures depending on the area over which it acts. For example, when a force acts over a large area of an object, it produces a small pressure. But if the same force acts over a small area of the object, it produces a large pressure. Now we will explain this by some everyday observations. Actually, we use the concept of both high pressure and low pressure in our everyday life. For example, a school bag has wide strap made of thick cloth so that the weight of bag may fall over a large area of the shoulder of the child, producing less pressure on the shoulder. And due to less pressure, it is more comfortable to carry the heavy school bag. On the other hand, if the school bag has a strap made of thin string, then the weight of school bag will fall over a small area of the shoulder. This will produce a large pressure on the shoulder of the child and it will become very painful to carry the heavy school bag. There is one more example. We see many porters at a railway station. Porters place a thick round piece of cloth on their head when they have to carry heavy loads of passengers. By placing the thick round piece of cloth, the porters increase the area of contact of the load with their head. Since the load now falls on a larger area of head, the pressure on head is reduced and it becomes easier to carry the heavy load. Next example is of a sharp knife. A sharp knife cuts objects better because due to its very thin edge, the force of our hand falls over a very small area of the object, producing a large pressure. And this large pressure cuts the object easily. On the other hand, a blunt knife has a thicker edge. A blunt knife does not cut an object easily because due to its thicker edge, the force of our hand falls over a larger area of the object and produces lesser pressure. This lesser pressure cuts the object with difficulty. A razor blade has very sharp edges so that it may produce a large pressure to cut things easily. An axe has also a sharp edge to cut things like wood easily. And similarly, the tip of a needle is also sharp so that it may put the force on a very small area of the cloth, producing a large pressure sufficient to pierce the cloth being stitched. Now let's discuss liquid pressure. All the liquids have weight. So when we pour a liquid into a vessel, then the weight of liquid pushes down on the base of the vessel, producing a pressure. The pressure exerted by a liquid is given by the formula pressure is equal to force upon area. In this case, the force is the weight of the liquid and area is the area of the base of the vessel in which the liquid is placed. The pressure in a liquid is not same at all depth. The pressure exerted by a liquid changes with depth in the liquid. Actually, the pressure exerted by a liquid increases with increasing depth inside the liquid. The pressure exerted by a liquid is small, just under the surface of the liquid. But as we go deeper in a liquid, the pressure of liquid increases. Actually, as the depth of liquid increases, the weight of liquid column pushing down from above increases and hence the pressure also increases. We measure liquid pressure using an instrument known as manometer. Next is atmospheric pressure. Atmospheric pressure is the pressure due to the weight of the air. It is measured by using a special device known as barometer. We use many simple devices in our everyday life which work on the existence of atmospheric pressure. For example, the devices such as a drinking straw, a syringe, a dropper and a rubber sucker work on the existence of atmospheric pressure around us. Thank you.